Moving on now to digging. Digging is a fairly common ability now. We've got about, ever since the patch, we got three new digging units, one of which was in IC Vanilla, and two of which have been added. So we've got Lemming, the Fox, the Ant, the Warthog, the Frownodon, and the Giant Anteater. Now, there's a huge variety of things here. We've got the overpopulation, we've got um, we've got the digging and high endurance, we've got digging and immunity and huge melee, that sort of thing. Digging and charge with good melee, digging and high size with leap attack and horns, digging and loner. So digging is sort of like a bonus ability, I suppose, because it comes with something. It usually comes on a creature that's already fairly good, just to make it a little bit better. The ant is especially a case of this. So just basically going through, as we can see, we've got a huge variety of creatures. We've got level 1, 2 level 2s, level 3, and two level 4s. So this is actually a level 2 unit because of the power level, but it has charge attack, which is minimum level 3. So yeah, you can see here we've got obviously the fox. You can immediately see how high endurance and digging would work well, because you can have fox with just about any ability, with the exception of probably assassinate. You have fox with for example, uh, a cockroach or a rat, or you can have it with a firefly, or you can have it with a skunk or stink bug or shield bugger, that is. You can basically have the fox with just about any ability in the game, any triggered ability in the game, and the combo of high endurance and digging means that while underground, um, your endurance regenerates half the speed, but high endurance doubles the speed at which you regenerate endurance. So basically, you have your creature underground and regens its endurance at normal speed, or you can just take it back to your base and just dig it up, and then when it needs to be used again, you dig it back down and you move it in. So with the Fox, obviously you got huge potential for abilities. The Ant has immunity and it has huge melee. It has 10 melee at size 1, which is pretty spectacular. It's even to the point where it's actually level 2. It's the only size 1 creature that's level 2 by power alone. As for the Lemming, it's got overpopulation, which we'll get to. The Warthog isn't very commonly used, but it has got good stats, and it's got good melee attack as well as charge. So it's got its good properties as well. The Frownodon, of course, is size 11, and it has horns and leap attack, so it's a good level 5 creature. And the Giant Anteater, of course, is a loner, so you can make the loner even more durable, I suppose, by using digging with it, because of course digging gives a 50% defense bonus. So digging, of course, has a lot of basic, I suppose. Um, it has a lot of potential. You can use it as a raider. You can use it as an ability unit. You can use it just to make something a bit hardier. So you can, yeah. I mean, the only disadvantage of digging is that a creature with regenerates slower, and a creature with high endurance, or well, a creature with an endurance bar, regens endurance a little bit slower. So, um, next ability is Disorienting Barbs. You don't see this one very much because it's found on two creatures, one of which has Cool Burst, which is of course extremely expensive, and the Tarantula no one really ever uses. The Barbs for, because it's a low level creature. Well, best used as a low level creature. But basically, what Disorienting Barbs is, I won't do very much on this one, but it's an anti-pack and pack and herding unit. So what it does is it makes, when a creature is attacked, it shoots out barbs, and these barbs will will basically make pack hunter and herding ineffective for about, I think, 10 seconds in a radius around the creature. So Say you got elephant komodos rushing in your base, you make a couple of these, and they lose all their herding bonus. So that's really all it does. Electric Burst on the Electric Eel is basically a area of effect damage attack, a bit like I suppose anyone who's played StarCraft, the Scythe Storm, except it's not ranged. It's a radius around the creature it's used by. Works well with digging. It's minimum level 3 attack, but if you happen to use a fox with it or something, you can dig underground. You can actually use it while you're underground, so it works well in that case, I suppose. Um, Usually, though, you don't see very much of it. It's an expensive ability, and really, all it does is I mean, it'll probably end up getting a huge buff at some stage, but it's all it really does is just do damage, and that's something that anything can really do. If it was a ranged ability, maybe, but yeah. Usually, also people are lazy, so they don't tend to use it very much because it, takes micro. Okay, Flash is only on the Firefly. The Firefly, as you can see, has great defense, but otherwise shit stats. Um, what it does is it blinds every single creature within a 40-meter radius. So it might even be 45 meters. I can't remember. It's definitely something ridiculously high, which will be getting hit with a Nerf bat at some stage. But what it does is, yeah, it blinds every creature within its radius, which means that no creature can use a range ability, and also that basically it becomes a melee fest. So if you are having problems with master range, you can dig one up. You can dig, well, you use your fox fly, dig it up, flash, dig down. Suddenly he can't use his range. So that's really what it's used for. It's great for turtling because it's got such a long range. So it forces, even if the enemy's got like 35-meter range, um, on his archerfish or whatever to take out your fence and sound beams. You can just dig one up, flash. Suddenly he's blind. He has to move. Unless he's microing well, his creatures have to move in or he has to move back. So either way, it's a win for you. It doesn't affect structures, of course, so that's why it's excellent for turtling. Usually you'll see it again, as I say, on a fox or at high levels with as a flyer, usually as a moose or elephant. Sometimes even a Frowned or I don't know, maybe even a Laplurid. I haven't really seen much of flash flies recently, but that's usually what it's used for. Now Frenzy. Frenzy, as you can see, is a fairly common ability. It's on 7 creatures. Frenzy is a sort of complicated ability. What it does is it doubles the damage you do. It increases the speed of the creature while reducing the damage. Reducing the defense of the creature. So of course, it's great for hit and run tactics. It's great for well, really, it's great for just about everything, with the exception of using it for a meat shield. It's its cost is based on how much damage the creature has, I believe, and also it uses endurance. So, a creature like, say, for example, a Zebra Mantis is excellent because it has high endurance as well as huge melee. It has 16 melee, this is level 2, of course. 16 melee, which goes up to 32. It's very fast, which means it can even use Frenzy to escape in some cases. It's got yeah, so basically what you'll be using it for is for fragile, huge melee raiding units. Um, so again, like a level 3, for example, you might use a lineman as 22 up to 44, and then plus 40%, which is about, I think, off the top of my head, I think it's about 56 melee. No, it's more than that. Either way, it's pretty ridiculous. 58 maybe. I don't know. 4.4 times 4 is like 16, 16, 16.8, yeah. Um, so yeah, it's about 60 melee, 61 melee, which is pretty enormous considering it's level 3. It's fairly expensive, of course, but anyway, I digress. So, Frenzy is, of course, as you can see again by the level spread, it's a very good ability at all levels. It's a bit expensive for level 2 usually, but it's great if you've only got one ability, which happens to be Frenzy. Um, it also it tends to come with immunity, so you've got 2 immune creatures. It's also 2 immune creatures with Frenzy. Piranha, of course, has Pack Hunter and Frenzy, which has obvious implications. The Vulture is a flying frenzy unit with, wow, I didn't actually notice I had talons again. Um, Wolverine, huge health and great melee again. Alligator, Gar needs a bit of a buff, but it's got high endurance and frenzy, which is, I mean, there you go. It's got high endurance, great defense, and frenzy. You're set for life, really. Loner, again, just a bit of a gimmick on that particular creature. Frenzy immunity on the Great White Shark, along with a ridiculously high melee, matched only really by the Walrus at that size, and the Woolly Mammoth, of course, with Horns and Frenzy. So Frenzy is a great ability. Really, you can't go wrong with it, unless, of course, as I say, using a Meat Shield.